A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the importance of not deleting your past relationships, not going through photo albums, ripping heads off, or deleting them from your cloud backups. It was a point that really seemed to land with a lot of you on the clips that were shared on social media. And I had a experience this week which was kind of parallel to that lesson, and also just really reinforce that point for me, but with a whole new perspective. This week I went on a date and we had a fantastic time. We'd gone to the gym together. By the way, I'd recommend that if you've not done a gym first date, I really rate it. I suppose it depends on how confident you are in your own kind of knowledge of training, etc. But also I'm pretty well trained. However, we're in like a bodybuilding gym with machines. I don't really use machines a lot. So I feel like just go for it as long as you're like curious with, hey, what's this machine do? Do you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be difficult. But if you are, whether you're the guy or the girl, just be aware that whoever has the higher knowledge of training will be the more dominant partner in that scenario. So something worth considering. Like if you're a total newbie, maybe don't invite a CrossFit girl to go with you, or a bodybuilding champion, unless you want to look like an absolute fucking cook. All that aside, it was a really nice dynamic. She was a bit of a gym goer, but not like probably didn't have as much knowledge as me. So that was quite a nice balance to be able to help. And then as well, like it's usually unlikely that the girl is going to be stronger than the guy. So if you're like me and you like to be the big strong man in the dynamic, or the sort of the more dominant partner, then that worked out well. But yeah, it was great. It was playful. Yeah, and then like you both get to see each other like in a um almost like an off guard way, but as well, like, I've got a bit of a pump on. You're very like in your body. So there's already like some sort of bonding chemistry going on there, or whatever. I'm not a scientist. So yeah, so that was good. And after the date, we went down to watch the sunset at this beautiful place, and ate lots of food, chatted, watched the sunset. It was like the most magical sunset I think I've ever seen. There was this like huge blue band that like came out from behind the sun as it dropped down, and it was almost like, if you put a filter onto a camera lens, or a filter onto a photo, and it's got like a almost like a dark blue kind of feel. It was like that side of the beach had gone to this like dark color, and then the other side was still kind of light and in this like golden hour kind of classic sunset lighting. So it was really miraculous, to be honest, and I felt very grateful for that moment. So that was cool. And there's like an unspoken context that you're both aware of. Like, this is going to be a short term thing, right? Like, that happens a lot, especially when you're on the road. Like, I'm not really one for one night stands as such, but like full day together. And then just kind of with the maturity that we both know that it's probably not going to be a long term thing. And so the following day, I was journaling about it, and I noticed myself wanting to edit the content and sanitize it a little bit, like not be totally authentic, because of a future partner's jealousy who doesn't exist that I'm worried about. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, why would we do that? And this relates to what I was talking about the other week about editing your life Like, why would I do that with my own private journal entry about my experience and feel like I had to be considerate of a future partner's feelings who doesn't exist? And if they did exist, I'm sure they won't care anyways. So yeah, maybe there is something in the my kind of attachment makeup where I'm wanting to be pleasing, or I'm already worried about the potential rejection or abandonment of a relationship that doesn't exist yet. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. But here I am now, journaling about it to the wider world. So we're well and truly slaying that dragon. As I noticed that, I made sure I added all the details that I wanted to add into the journal. And then I also, because I've been adding accompanying photographs with my journal entries and then putting like a little symbol, I made sure that I went and had a photograph of this person that I went on a date with, because that's my memories. I don't want to forget them. Like, that's crazy. It was a beautiful day. And yeah, it's like, why should we want to edit out former lovers, partners, dates, whatever? That's crazy. We're all adults here. But now, that same day, I was pretty tired and I came back to the room to have a little bit of a nap and just watch a little bit of TV. I was feeling pretty wiped, to be honest. Thankfully, I have Netflix available here, which is a really nice luxury to have. One program that I've not watched in ages is Black Mirror. I always feel like with Black Mirror, you just never know what you're going to get, and sometimes it can be like a little bit intense. But whatever, I was attracted to it for some reason, and this is weird now because I'm like, I've been avoiding Black Mirror for ages because I'm just like, ugh. And then sorry, I'm like, oh, this not like maybe Black Mirror is what I need. I went on to Google and I searched best Black Mirror episodes because I didn't want it to be one of those kind of everything's fucked, we're all absolutely cooked as a society kind of vibe. So I was reading through, and then this one caught my eye called Eulogy, as it's season 7. Let me check. Yes, season 7, episode 5. So the main character, Philip, he's in like late 60s, early 70s, something like that. He receives a phone call, and it's this company informing him of like, I'm so sorry to tell you about the death of Carol. And he's like, I know you're on about. And long story short, it gets down to, oh yeah. I think I knew a Carol, Carol, whatever her name is. And they're like, well, we've got this technology now where we're trying to collect memories of those that loved her, and we'd love it if you would take part. So he's like, look, I don't really know like much about this bird, and they're like, look, we'll send you the kit, see how you get on. You might remember something when you get it. And he's like, all right, sound. So this thing eventually comes, and it's like this AI talking little thing that he puts on his temple, and he goes and finds. They're like, "Have you got any memories? Can you remember her?" And he's like, "Honestly, I can't remember this chick." So he goes and looks for some photographs. So he comes down and he says, "Right, I've got these 3 photos. This might help me jog my memory." And then this AI thing is kind of like talking him through, and he's like, "Oh, this is the photo of this party when I met Carol." And the AI is like, "But you can't, you can only see the back of her head." And he's like, "Yeah, that's all I've got. Sorry, mate." And the AI decides to say, like, we can go into the photograph and we can go and look. So they go into this scene, and then he goes and then he looks around the corner at Carol, but still her face is blurred out, and he's like, well, this is no good. So they continue this process. They go into different photographs. They have music on, which to try and jog his memory. And he's like, I can't remember like what her face looks like. I'm sorry. And then the AI is like, is there anything else that you've got? And he's like, well, I've got some other stuff, but like, I don't think it's going to be useful. So she's like, get it out. So he comes back downstairs. He's got these photographs, and lo and behold, It's all of these photographs with this woman on, and he's cut her head out. So clearly, we're now realizing this is a previous lover. They were together for 3 years, and he had his heart broke. So he proceeded to completely rip out all of these things. And it's when I'm watching this program, I'm like, huh, like this all connects with everything that I've been talking about the other week, going back and editing people out of your life. And it was just like, as we're all getting older and we're wanting to, like, we don't want to forget our past. And this whole episode seemed to just really double down on precisely the point I was making, and then the realization that I had when doing the journal. Like, I wouldn't want to look back and be like, what was it? Like, what happened? Like, I'd want to know everything because it's my voice and it's my experience, it's my life. And if I wasn't able to remember this one thing, then maybe I won't be able to remember the next. We must be very careful about editing people out of things that we don't want to remember, because there could be unintended consequences, other stuff that you will forget along the way. There are like two sides to this, isn't there? There is the one about removing someone from your life, and then there is the other about not wanting a future person to look back on a different time in your life about another person. But all of it just feels, I think it's a fear, it's like a fear of being fully known to a future partner. And we've all had that experience when you go on a first date or whatever, and you do kind of end up, even if you don't realize it, you present the best version of yourself to that person. You talk about all the highlights, etc. Or even if you're vulnerable and you talk about your darkest moments, that will also be like performative. So there seems to be this constant feeling of wanting to, and perhaps this has been around for millennia, but like wanting to curate the best version of yourself to give yourself an advantage in the mating market, status games, etc., etc. And I think if you are concerned about what a future partner or an existing partner would think about your past relationships, then maybe they're not the partner for you. Like the partner that you need is someone who's going to be accepting of all of your life and all the things that you've done, because that's what makes you you. And we're not even talking necessarily about mistakes, we're just talking about experiences, and in this case lovers. Like, why is that so bad? And I thought I would wrap up this insight and lesson with a tool that you can actually use. So if you're using Google Photos, I'm sure that Apple will be the same. But if you are using them to back up your stuff, like most people are now, you might as well. Like, you might have to pay at some point, but it's worth having your photos. Like, I wish we'd had the cloud, like going back 10 years plus ago, because I do have this just gap of photos that aren't around, because whatever, there was this like time in between old school cameras, and then there was like digital in the middle, and like we were all having to go to plug them into our computers and print them off and stuff. And then now when we have the cloud, there is a bit of a gap there. So get yourself on some form of cloud backup. Doesn't Amazon include it for free or something in Prime, or anyways, whatever? But you can go in there, and then you can actually change the settings of like memories and stuff. So you can either just have it on open or whatever, but you can have it. You can block people, but I wouldn't recommend that. And funnily enough, I went into mine, I've seen that I'd blocked some ex-partners, so I'm going to change that. And there is a setting where you can just see less of them, so it won't actually block. So if you have the block setting on, it'll block them from all group photos coming up in your memories or whatever. But if you have the see less of them, you won't necessarily just see like a picture of you and them or them. But again, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Like, why does it really matter? So if your partner is jealous of your past, maybe point them to this episode, or simply point them to the door. I hope this was useful. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.